I noticed something kind of trippy recently that is a complete mind fudge about business and finances.
The $30 meal at work fills you up just the same as the $5 meal you can make from home.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, $76,000 for a pizza.
That's 2 of my cars.
Wow.
Stephan is a financial expert who is adverse to spending.
The $3 cup of coffee at Starbucks is absurdly expensive when you compare it to making coffee at home for 20 cents.
His business essentially revolves around YouTube, and his prime message, to summarize really simply, is to save and invest. He freaks out if someone buys a coffee and doesn't make their own 20-cent iced coffee at home.
Cut that out. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care how much you enjoy Starbucks. You cut that out right now.
Meanwhile, MrBeast's business also revolves around YouTube. He's not a financial expert. He just gives away money in expensive items.
Last one of you to take your hand off this $1 million stack of cash keeps it.
And yet his YouTube business is bigger and essentially the same type of business. MrBeast versus Stephan. Spending versus saving. Isn't it weird that deliberately breaking the financial advice of a financial expert on YouTube is exactly what makes the biggest YouTubers big?
The $30,000 car you bought to commute 1 mile to work every day is no more efficient than a $5,000 car that accomplishes the exact same thing.
8 million subscriber, all 40 of these cars.
My mind was blown when I started thinking about this. MrBeast and Stephan are just examples, so this is not necessarily about them personally. There are many YouTubers in the same niches that follow the same basic formulas. As I've gone further down the YouTube rabbit hole, I've done a lot of thinking about what people do to get bigger and also theories behind what they do and why they do it.
Saving as much money as I could led me to buying my first rental property at the age of 21 years old.
How much did you spend?
How much do you think?
300,000.
More.
One thing I found really interesting and completely blew my mind is that the best business theories are also simultaneously wrong.
Like, instead of going and buying an expensive exotic car when I was 21 years old, I went and bought a rental property.
It's a different Lamborghini, but yes, you get a Lamborghini.
You could say how MrBeast operates is reckless from a business standpoint. I mean, who gives away 6-figure or even 7-figure gifts regularly?
I bought this entire island. I have 10 challenges and we have 10 people. And the last one of you to leave this island keeps it.
On a side note, I'm waiting for a nice gift. I'll take even a 5-figure or even 4-figure, 3-figure gift. But seriously, what he's doing is also carefully planned out business strategy with financial planning behind it.
You know, I just reinvested every dollar I made, and over like the last, 8 years, just slowly grew into whatever I do now.
Stephan runs a strong business based on his YouTube, which focuses on living frugally below your means so that you can save money and investing those savings.
So throughout my entire career, I've always delayed gratification, waited to buy things, lived below my means, opted for less expensive alternatives, always reinvested my money, and given up a lot of luxuries for the sake of having more money to reinvest in having a better, brighter future.
These are two almost entirely polar opposite approaches to it.
Even though I'm naturally the type of person who lives below their means and enjoys living frugally, I'm still human, and I still have moments all the time where I just think to myself, how cool would it be just to go and buy the Lamborghini I've always wanted? How cool would it be just to go and buy a $3 million house and have a very massive mortgage? There have always been those temptations out there for me to say, okay, let me just go buy it because I can. But in the back of my mind, there's always little voices saying, you can always buy it later. Go and invest right now. If you invest and decide you still want it a few years from now, you can always go and do it then. And that's what I've always done.
Where I literally bought a house and a Lamborghini, and I'm going to give this man a choice.
Would you rather have a real Lamborghini? Here's a clip of it. I literally bought one. Or would you rather have a house? This is the deed to the house. Here's a shot of me in the house. This house is insane. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen.
No offense to Graham, and I'm well aware I am a peasant in comparison to him. However, as one of, if not the biggest financial experts on YouTube, isn't it ironic that the biggest YouTubers actually make the most money by doing the opposite to a lot of Graham's teachings?
Next is a $125 milkshake.
I've been looking forward to this all day.
This is the Lux milkshake.
MrBeast clearly isn't just successful from being just lucky.
A lot of people blame the algorithm, but typically you can just look at the data and point to it.
He clearly worked hard to find a strategy that worked and went all in with it. Now, I actually strongly agree with a lot of what Graham says. However, I do think that this highlights that spending strategically is powerful. In fact, there is a strong difference between personal finance and business finances. There is a saying in business that you need to spend money to make money. You need to spend money to grow a business. I think one of the hardest things to do is to be highly skilled in personal finances, then have to adapt that into business. Because in your personal finances, you want to focus on saving and investing. But for a business to have exponential growth, it needs to spend. There are also peaks you hit where you can only save so much, and once you start making a certain amount, you need to rethink spending. You need to be more open to spend when the extra cost is worth it to save your time. This is not to say to go spend $20,000 in credit card debt. Whatever you do, be strategic about it. Be open to spend if you are being strategic. I genuinely think Stephan could be even bigger if he just spent more money. He seemingly sort of reluctantly hired Jack to assist him, which has enabled him to put out more content.
Right-hand man for Graham.
However, how much more content or other projects could he do if he was more open to spending on his business and getting more people, which would enable him to do even more?
Graham he felt overflowed with the amount of work that he was doing, and there were some certain tasks that he shouldn't have spent his time doing. There were just some mindless like copy pasting, like filing and stuff like that he really shouldn't be doing while he's running such a huge business at the head of everything, you know? So I worked for free for what seemed like for a long time.
However, in saying all that, ironically though, if he didn't have that mindset that he does, would he be where he is now?
I've also made a lot of smaller, little sacrifices along the way just to help expedite that process. Like driving a Toyota Prius as a daily driver for 9 years instead of going and getting a luxury car.
Alright guys, so basically we now own a Lamborghini.
Probably should have bought a house.
Nah, it's whatever.
There is so much to think about and contemplate in all of this. Again, I think it's about being strategic and finding what works for you. But I think what's often missed in personal finance advice is the idea of good spending versus bad spending. A good example is accountants. Accountants are so expensive, especially for business. However, a good accountant could save you or make you significant amounts of money in both your business or for your personal finances.
What are your taxes like? Because you give away so much money. Yeah. I hope that that's all deductible.
I do too. If it's not, which
that is brutal.
If it's not, I might have a GoFundMe coming up, but we'll see, because this year's taxes are coming up, and that's when it's gonna, like millions of
You're
dollars.
about to find out.
I'm gonna be
how bad you got it.
I want to make it clear that I enjoy both creators, and what they've done is very inspiring. I find the idea of this contradiction between Stephan and MrBeast, and the fact that they are both simultaneously right, to be quite eye-opening. Imagine what could happen if someone combined the two. It's also easy to say that MrBeast's strategy works better. However, what if both failed? If both were to fail, MrBeast would probably be in serious financial trouble.
What's up guys? I accidentally gave all my money away to Twitch streamers and now I'm homeless.
Whereas Stephan might then go back to zero but not be in debt. Then he could leverage his real estate skills and build himself back up. MrBeast could seriously build himself back up, but he would be held back by that debt that he would probably accumulate. If you take either approach and you fail, then it's clear who the winner is. But if you take either approach and you succeed, then it's also clear who the winner is. And they're polar opposites. This is a weird observation and a lot of food for thought to think about. But I do kind of find it ironic that the financial experts are outperformed by the people who deliberately ignore what they say. Now, I'm not encouraging you to go spend recklessly.
In this video, we will be eating a $70,000 pizza.
Oh my God.
This is incredible.
However, I am encouraging you to be strategic about whatever it is that you do. Also, who knows where they are on their journeys? Who's to say that in 10 or 20 years that Stephan isn't the next Tony Robbins? But then MrBeast could be the next MGM or Paramount. In any event, both are exciting to follow and both are wildly successful by following complete polar opposite strategies. As always, these are just my thoughts and observations. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think.